Welcome to the Americana Bistro Grill. I'm your host, Dr. Rob, here, serving you the best from Miami, Florida. Of all the places here, we're in the countryside in Kendall, Florida, right next to the Homestead and the Florida Keys, where all of America's greatest artists do their concerts in the Key West Singer-Songwriter Festival and in the Key Largo Festival. I have here one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time from the Midwest, from Minnesota. Since I am also from the Midwest, from Ohio, I believe that all the Midwestern artists should be promoted, especially the ones that are Midwest country. I have here Katy Tessman. She is one of the greatest, and she has one of the greatest stories to tell. Katy, I saw all of your YouTube videos. And what really impressed me was your battle against cancer. How was your battle against cancer, and what did you do with your battle against cancer to inspire others?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I'm a big fan of yours as well. A long time ago, when I was 39 years old, I went in and had my very first mammogram. And turns out there was a tumor that was cancer. And my children were ages 3 and 6 at the time. I have 2 sons. It hit me really hard. Cancer was not in my family. I was not expecting anything like this. It was stage 3. So I went through chemotherapy and surgeries, and I went to the library if I could find a book to explain what was going to happen to Mama. But there wasn't anything that I could read to my little children. So I found my own words to explain it to them. And fast forward 5 years, and I hit my 5-year anniversary of being cancer-free. I realized I had written the book I was looking for, and I ended up self-publishing our family story because I wanted to spread hope and optimism to families that are faced with this awful diagnosis. And I'm not the only one that gets dealt this bad hand. That gave me a lot of joy, sharing our story, explaining what cancer was. My book is called Our Mama is a Beautiful Garden. And when I started songwriting again in 2020, that was sort of the message that I wanted to continue to send is it's okay to hope. It's okay to look for silver linings. And when I started performing again in 2022, I realized that that was my message to the world. I have a different point of view on life than I did in the 90s and early 2000s when I was a performing singer-songwriter. And then I had a 20-year pause. And now I'm sending different sorts of messages out into the world, mainly about reminding people that they're really, really special.
Great. Also, in addition to the book, you've done a lot of concerts and a lot of promotions to raise awareness against cancer, because cancer is one of the biggest killers in America and in the world. Who has not lost a friend or a relative to cancer? It strikes everybody. Look, before we continue more about the videos, how was your career? And we're going to divide the question into 3 parts. As a singer-songwriter and a performer, how did you get started? How do you get started, which is the past, present, including the cancer and the COVID, and the future?
Well, cancer is an awful killer. it's a thief. And it has hit almost everyone. Um, and I feel lucky to be 13 years cancer free. I've always been an optimist, but being a cancer thriver is just an amazing feeling. Um, when I was enduring chemotherapy, I kept thinking to myself, this is the grandma plan. I want to live old enough to become a grandma for my two sons when they become old enough to become parents. uh, yeah, my journey as a creative person, it has stumbles and summits, and I was a performing singer-songwriter when I was younger, between college and becoming a mom. And I recorded two different albums. I went on two different national tours. I stayed mostly north. I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I went all the way out to Portland, Oregon, and back. And then my second tour was around Lake Superior. So I toured and did shows in the UP, and then all the way through Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and then through Wisconsin. But then when I became a mom, my songwriting and performing stopped. I taught early childhood music during the day when they were at school. I participated in the youth worship program at our church. But then when the pandemic hit in 2020, my kids were older, and we did distance learning. And my younger son started producing music on his computer. And then my older son said, Mom, I want you to teach me how to play guitar. So music just started pouring out of my house. And the three of us were super creative. And that's when the songwriting came back. And then in 2022, it was my re-debut. And I formed a new band, and I booked a variety of gigs. And my older son is my lead guitar player. So my mama heart just is like growing so big, being on stage with my son and sharing our story. And my goal was to have at least one performance a month, because I work full time and my younger son is still in school. And I looked back at my year in December, and turns out my year in review, I had 25 shows in 15 different cities. And I released 3 singles. And now I'm looking to the future thinking, what do I want to do with this momentum? And I definitely want to share stages with more folks. The singer-songwriter community here in the Twin Cities is really strong, and we really support each other. So I've got people that I'm booking shows with. I've got goals to share shows with some other people, and do things like that. Would you like to talk about my fundraiser that I had in October?
Yeah, I want to talk about your fundraiser. That was the reason why I asked you these questions about cancer and your past, present, and future, was I found out about your fundraiser.
Yes.
I didn't know about your fundraiser.
Yes. So just last October, I did a fundraiser for the Angel Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, that offers support to adults who are fighting cancer. I was a recipient of financial aid from this organization, and this was my opportunity to give back. And I partnered with a venue in Excelsior, which is a western suburb of the Twin Cities. It's called the 318 Cafe, and it is a beautiful listening room. They've got yummy menu items and tasty cocktails, but the sound system and the stage lighting is so professional. It was a beautiful setting for this event for my band to perform a couple hours of music, raise awareness about different things that people that are fighting cancer, or those of us who want to support folks that are fighting cancer, different resources, and then financially give to the Angel Foundation. And I'm so proud to say I met my goal of raising $1,000 for the organization. And then a dozen of my books, Our Mama is a Beautiful Garden, was purchased to give back to the Angel Foundation for them to put in these angel packs for families that are facing a breast cancer diagnosis.
Great. Also, you've recorded many albums. Two of the ones that have come to my attention. One is called Hero Not Coward, and There's Always Room. First, let's start with There's Always Room. What was the inspiration behind There's Always Room?
I am part of a singer-songwriter songwriting challenge on Facebook.
I know,
I know, like, it's a social media group, might sound sort of toxic, but this is the healthiest experience I've ever been in. The group of people that participate, we raise each other up every week. There's a prompt, and within that week we write a song, and we make a home video of ourselves doing the song, and we share it to the Facebook group. It's open to the public, so anybody can participate or even just observe what songwriters are doing. Last winter, there was a prompt. There's usually a word, but there was a prompt of a photograph of an old rundown house. And I wrote the song, There's Always Room. I wrote it in the voice of this house. I thought about all the wonderful things that this house hosted, the families it sheltered, the wonderful fun memories that were made in the house. And now that it's run down, the house is yearning for people to be with them in the house. Let's make new memories. I can do it, says the house. And being a mom of sons that are getting older, they're going to be moving out. I'm going to have an empty nest sometime. So it's kind of a song for myself too. But I recorded it this fall, on Thanksgiving weekend, I released it. What's really cool about the recording is I worked with my son and his band, and they were the backing band for the recording. So it was really cool to do something professional with 19-year-old young men, and I'm really proud of the song. The other song you mentioned was Hero Now
Hero Not
Crown.
Coward. Because
Yeah.
Hero Not Coward. Let me make sure I'm correct about this. You're going to be performing Hero Not Coward in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I hope I get the name right, because if not, I'm not going to forgive myself. Nikki Lamar, I think that's her name.
Yes.
Good, I got it right. And let me make sure I had the group right, because I see all the things from the Midwest. She is, I think, from the Foxgloves, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Nikki Lemire from the Foxgloves, yes, is
Yeah.
going to be doing a solo set to open the night. And she plays harp and has a gorgeous voice. And so she'll be doing a solo opening set. And then my band and I will be playing a set. And then toward the end, Nikki's going to join us. And we're celebrating the release of my single, Hero Now Crowned.
Now crowned, right. Sorry about, I wrote it, I'm sorry if I wrote it wrong. Hero, I said, my mistake. It's Hero Not Crowned, not Hero Not Coward. But
Yes. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So
because-
Nikki, yeah, my recording features Nikki on harp and harmonies. And on February 10th, the single will be released, and there will be an accompanying lyric picture book to go with it. And on February 11th, will be celebrating with a concert at the Astor Cafe in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Another gorgeous listening room venue that draws national acts as well as local folks like me and Nikki. The song is a celebration of all of us who have overcome hardships, whether it's addiction or conquering depression and anxiety, or folks that are struggling with grief, and then cancer survivors like you. The song is for you. It's a celebration of self-love, an acknowledgement of the stumble and the summits, and that the everyday hero. We're all pretty amazing, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We are. But again, I wanted to thank you for excusing me, the hero not crowned. It's that I used the wrong glasses when I was writing everything, so
Yes.
I have the right ones. But I just want to also let you know that the prompt, the singer-songwriter challenge, I never found it toxic. I always would watch it. I'm not a singer-songwriter. I'm just one who promotes music. And it's the singer-songwriter challenge, in my opinion, is promoting art where we need to promote art, especially from the Midwest and from other areas of the United States. Many times the United States has been associated with the West Coast and the East Coast. I'm not knocking the West Coast or the East Coast because I have family in California and New York. But the Midwest, the South, the Rocky Mountains, there is art there. In fact, Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, is the birthplace of one of your greatest singer-songwriters and poet laureate, and the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature.
Yep.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yes.
In fact, Bob Dylan is so big, not just in Minnesota, but in the world.
Yeah.
That in Cuba, I have family in Cuba. I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just going to simply say that there's a singer called Silvio Rodriguez. And Silvio Rodriguez is like he was like a back to nature musician. And he lived the same time frame as Bob Dylan. He now considers himself the Bob Dylan of Cuba. That's how far Bob Dylan has arrived. And when I see most of the Minnesota writers and also the Midwest Country Music Organization singers and songwriters, we are seeing that revival of the music that is back to nature, which is sorely needed in today's time. The one with love, go back to nature, enjoy life. And I do love that. And we do need to promote that type of music.
Yes.
We have not had that type since Bob Dylan or even Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yep. I grew up on Bob Dylan and Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yes.
Who didn't grow up on Bob Dylan?
Good stuff.
Who never? It is that his fame arrived in many areas, even in a place like Cuba that supposedly never had such influence for the last 60 years. That one singer-songwriter there would say, I am the Bob Dylan of Cuba.
And Cuba has a very rich culture.
I know.
Yeah, yes. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool that somebody wants to identify as Bob Dylan.
Yeah, there was one other singer-songwriter in Spain. I'm saying this because most of my original family was from Cuba and from Spain.
Okay.
So I use these musicians and artists as examples when I hear the music from the Midwest, especially Minnesota and Wisconsin. There was a Spanish singer-songwriter from Catalonia, or Catalonia, as they say in English, Juan Manuel Serrat. He was also another one who was back to nature. He was so back to nature, he not only sung in Spanish, but he also sung in Catalan. the other language of Catalonia.
Oh,
Yeah, Spain is not just Spanish, it's Galicia, Basque, and Catalonian. I know, my ancestors came from the Basque and Galicia,
wonderful.
but we're talking about the Midwest and your career. We're just simply saying how your music and the music of many people in the Midwest is touching many people around the world. Not just Bob Dylan, your music, Sarah Morris, the Foxgloves, Megan, and the Birdwatch. I hope I got that right.
Yep, yep.
Ted, let me make sure I got this one right because I've interviewed him. Ted Hanashewitz.
Hanashevitz. Yes, this past summer, Ted and I shared a couple of different stages together, including my backyard.
In fact, even Doyle Turner.
Yeah.
Is right in the world too.
Yes, yes. Amazing. You listed some wonderful, talented songwriters there. Yeah.
And you're also one of them.
Thank you.
And I also want to congratulate you on being one of the first to be interviewed under my new Zoom. This is my first Zoom interview.
Yay!
And,
hip hip hooray for technology.
And in addition to having my first Zoom interview, now I can finally meet one of my cousins who is a caricature drawer.
Oh.
He left Cuba. He's called Reynold de Cuba. Big caricature drawer in a long time ago. He even drew artists. I don't know if he drew Silvio Rodriguez, but he drew a lot of artists.
Ah.
But he said, we're gonna meet, but you have to master Zoom and StreamYard. So I made a promise to him, okay, we will meet after I master Zoom and StreamYard.
Cool.
Yay, I mastered Zoom.
Yay.
Now for StreamYard. And also I promised to Sarah Morris when she did the Toilet Tunes, which I love too.
Yes.
She said, tell me something good. Sarah Morris said, tell me something good. I said, I'll tell you something good. I'm going to learn how to do StreamYard and Zoom. And I just did Zoom. Anything else that you might want to cover or answer?
I wanted to do a shout out to your dancing performance with your vacuum cleaner in Sarah Morris's video.
Yes.
Dance with me, yes. Oh, yeah. That was so cute.
Thanks.
I loved that.
Is that my wife? My wife, she's from Puerto Rico, but she's very publicity shy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I respect that. I'm already including her in my videos as well. But she's very shy in appearing. And when I wanted to dance with her in the video, she had she was talking with some other relatives on the phone.
Yeah. She
was talking with her relatives in Puerto Rico, and then she was talking with some of my relatives here in Orlando, New York, California, and in Cuba. Yeah, saying, well, Dr. Rob is doing this interview, so take it up.
Well, I will be. I'll be on Sarah Morris's Toilet Tunes February 2nd, that Friday, the first Friday of February. And my new song, Hero Now Crowned, will be available to stream everywhere on February 10th.
Great. Well, my big question is, where can we buy your book?
Oh.
Mama's a Big Garden, and where can we buy this CD? Because not everybody is MP3 savvy, nor nobody is MP3 or MP4 savvy.
Yes.
Just simply learning this because right now, I wanted to learn Zoom and I wanted to learn StreamYard. And I made a promise, and at least I kept half of my promise.
Right. Well, as we grow older, we will have more opportunities to learn. Isn't that true?
True.
My book, Our Mama is a Beautiful Garden, and my second book for Hero Now Crowned, the lyric picture book, they are available on Amazon. Or you can go directly to my website at katytessman.com. I'm doing pre-orders right now for Hero Now Crowned. Pretty cool. I have 2 books. Yay. And then I have my my solo debut CD that I did back in 2001 before my sons were born. That is available to purchase directly through me on my website. I haven't pressed any new CDs yet of my new music. I'm still going to try and figure out what I'm going to do for 2023 here, and then I'll have some sort of album that people could purchase. But right now, my new music is only available to download or stream.
Great. What I'm going to do is before we close, I do want to thank you for coming to the Americana Bistro Grill with Dr. Rob. For me, it was a pleasure and an honor. It's also a pleasure and honor having you in my first Zoom interview, and I hope it will not be the last. And now, since I have katytessman.com, I'm going to buy the book, the CDs. Why buy from Amazon when I can buy from you?
Thank you.
I don't want to buy from big corporations.
Right. Amazon, I'm using Amazon as my print on demand, like the printer. And so when you do purchase them, it will be directly from me. So that's the good thing about the Kindle print on demand through Amazon.
I would rather buy it directly from you. On Amazon, I already had 2 books written, and they were published on Amazon and covered by the copy. They were a long time ago. Copyrighted. They were copyrighted in the Library of Congress, Canadian Intellectual Property Office, and the Royal Crown Copyright of Great Britain.
Yay!
But I want to buy directly from you because I am a believer in buying directly from the artist so that you could get the money and the publicity. In addition to thanking you for the first Zoom interview, I also want to invite everybody in the Midwest to come. Please be interviewed by Dr. Rob. We have a great program in the Americana Bistro Grill. We have been around almost 10 years on the air, first with AMI Radio in Anna Maria Island, Florida. And then when Anna Maria Island Radio went out of business, the Americana Bistro Grill and the AG News Show went into the blog called the English version, the AG News Show, because there's a Spanish version that has been circulating since 2006, but this is the whole English version. And we too want to give publicity to the Foxgloves. We want to give publicity to more. We already interviewed Sarah Morris. We already interviewed Doyle Turner. We hope they come back. We interviewed Ted. Please.
Just Ted.
Yeah. And I want to interview we want to interview the Foxgloves, Megan, and the Birdwatcher. We want to interview any Midwest country music or any Midwest Americana artist who wants to appear. Even those who are members of the Midwest Country Music Organization. Come one, come all. I'm also inviting my audience to please patronize all of the artists that we interview. Patronize them. You do not get beautiful music like this anywhere except in places like the Rocky Mountains and especially the Midwest and the Upper Midwest. You can't beat having such type of music that we want more of the artists. Even Superior Siren is invited.
Yay, great.
Tell Superior Siren, tell the Foxgloves, tell them, come one, come all, and we can arrange a Zoom interview the same way we arranged it with you. And also to my public, in which I say patronize all of the artists. Also, please, since we're in Zoom, YouTube, and in other platforms, please give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Not just for me, but also for the artists. Also, please visit Katy Tessman. She has a great YouTube channel. Give her a like. Increase her subscription. Do the same with all of the other artists that I have mentioned, because such great music comes from such great places.
Yep, hitting that little subscribe button is like spreading love.
And also remember that Minnesota is one of the birthplaces of one of the greatest. So much that other people have wanted to say, I am the Bob Dylan of Catalonia, I'm the Bob Dylan of Spain, and I'm the Bob Dylan of Cuba.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Rob, for offering this space for songwriters and creative people. especially throughout the Midwest. That's so nice that you give us a spotlight.
For me, it's a pleasure and an honor. Remember, even though my blood is from Spain, I mean, the part of Spain called Galicia in the Basque Country, where Spanish is the second language, and in the Basque Country, Basque is the first language, and in Galicia, Galicia is the first language. Galician is the Portuguese dialect mixed with the Celtic roots of Ireland. That's the first language is followed by Spanish. In addition to Spain, in addition to Cuba, I'm also Midwestern. I'm not from Minnesota, I'm from Ohio. But
Yeah.
I also do a lot of interview with artists from Ohio. I figured we have to include all the Midwest: Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri. We have to include everyone, including the ones from the Midwest Country Music Organization. Oh, I just remembered. I also interviewed Leadfoot Larry, and it was great.
Oh, fun.
So please,
Great.
come one and come all. And before I leave, I'll be saying goodbye to you after I'm gonna turn off the recording and say goodbye to you later.
Okay.
But I want to say this also from the heart of Miami. We're in Kendall, Florida, in the countryside. We're not in the city. We are in the countryside. To the rest of the world and to the Midwest, especially Minnesota, in the words of the great singer-songwriter from Texas, Laura Marie, peace in, peace out, and peace everywhere. And be love. Come one, come all. Until the next time.
Mwah.
Okay, let me see how I can turn off the recording here. How do I turn it off? Oh, just stop recording.